Good morning, beloved mighty companions. I'm going to live stream this. Yeah, this morning's theme is just gratitude. That for mighty companions and Jesus for this new covenant and the joy just of looking with him every day through the light circles. So much joy. It's like clearing out all the dust bunnies. And the love, this infinite love that goes on and on and on and on. Like you're always being solicited by love. And the value of mighty companions that are uncompromising, like that won't compromise. Because I'm seeing there's so many valuable lessons. And you just see like coming to this, how helpful it is, I hadn't been to an ACIM conference before, and it's always about guidance, but that's straight up seeing that dedication and really aligning with beings who are so true, like who don't compromise. That won't compromise, because the mind will always, the wrong mind, it's always going to be looking for a way in consciousness to find an agreement with itself, to hold on to the idea that it has of itself. I can see that. So it will kind of avoid those reflections that are true. And we just look for that. That's just what the ego does. It's going to look for agreement with itself, that it's real. And that's why it's so helpful, these light sessions and joining every day on this, to see what's true, see what's true, see what's true. With Jesus, is this true? And let's see all the love that's here. So I can't emphasize enough for myself how precious these sessions are to join and what's true. So today we're going to be doing just confirming to make sure, because every now and then 8:25, 1:45. So we're on lesson 146. And Jesus is, this focus on infinite light. So many reflections coming in on that, how helpful that is. It's a reminder for me. This blue light, like so much happiness, just even thinking about it or talking about it, or you start seeing that it's like a privilege in a way. Privilege doesn't really describe it, but it gets close to be called to this light. And how it solicits, this infinite love is always soliciting us to cuddle up, people. Let's see that you're not a person. So as we focus on the light of being, infinite joy, no stopping joy, infinite happiness. Focus on infinite happiness. How's that for your day? On lesson 146. My mind holds only when I think with God. And you start seeing every event that happens as an opportunity to sing with God the truth. As we focus on the light of infinite being, infinite happiness. That's so worthy. That's what we're worthy for. infinite happiness, and the only thing we're worthy for. Infinite. That's so far from the idea of this world. Yet the world is precious, you know, everything becomes precious, like whatever's happening. My mind holds only what I think with God, which is happiness. I know that Muji would say, you know, you're not a container. To hold on to hold on to things, hold on to thoughts, and hold on. And I just assumed I was. I guess it's so subconscious. You know, you don't see that how we hold on to these things or hide from ourselves. It's so funny. You realize you're not holding on. That's it. You know, I started seeing that. Like, want to grab onto thoughts and play little thought games. And infinite love just kind of cleans the slate and cleans that idea off that they're actually thoughts that are valuable. I'm also seeing that as we get close to like the breakthroughs, and David would talk about this too, you know, we're going to want to go skitter off and not look anymore. And that's why the consistent looking with Jesus, that's why it's a 365-day course, to look so consistently at the thoughts or be with Jesus continually, because you can start to see that the ego is going to try to masquerade as infinite light. It will try and play that game, actually, and it's a form of denial. Jesus, am I holding anything in my mind that's not of God? And see that the light doesn't hold on to anything. That the light's not for or against anything. It's just here. Boy, it's just really standing into it. I can see that. Just really stand into it. That's the message. Jesus goes, yes, that's the message. Stand into it when you think you want to. I'm going to ask him too. How do we know it's guidance from him? Yeah, because there's an openness about it. Guidance from Jesus. When it comes from the love, it doesn't have the same rules of this world. Like, it just is. It like breaks the game. And that's how come it's known. That's how come the joining was so valuable with Mighty Companions. But Mighty Companions are true, that are really uncompromising. Ego doesn't like that at all. That's why the joining, Jesus says, join. Join, 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 join. Because of how the ego can masquerade. But when two or more come together and devoted to truth, and that's their only function, their only desire for truth, then the ego can't stand at last of lack of content. So that's really why in the listening and the following, it's the joining to keep it always pointing up. And with mighties that are really dedicated and not fearful, because if we go to reflections that are fearful, then we'll get back the reflection that we want, fear. or that agrees with us. We'll find it because it's a way of not looking deeply at what's true. So this is looking together at what's true. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Failure is all about you while you seek for goals that cannot be achieved. You look for permanence in the impermanent, for love where there is none, for safety in the midst of danger, immortality in the darkness of the dream of death. Jesus, is there a desire here to look for permanence in the impermanent? Can you show me where there's a desire for impermanence? You start to see that there's no happiness in that at all. Not sustained. Not sustained happiness, because the whole world's about unsustained happiness, that happiness is over there. Happiness is anywhere but here now. Anything other than identity. Love for where there's none. Jesus, can you show me where I'm searching for love where there's none? Oh, anywhere outside myself. That's right. Maybe I shouldn't have this on my knee because it's going to jiggle. I'm at a friend's house and finding a quiet place because there's about 20 people packed in here, which is amazing. Good mind watching. Yeah. So this is like the quiet place where the internet works. Love is everywhere, isn't it? Okay. Safety in the midst of danger. Golly, we love that safety game. Jesus, is there a desire to play the safety game? Oh, that's such a trick, isn't it? I'll be safe. If I can get out of here, I can be safe. Is there any desire for that experience? There's no more love than being right where you are. Right here, right now. No more love than that. It's impossible because it's total and complete, like right now, right here. Ta-da. Oh my gosh. Oh God. Like right here. It's like that's it. Oh my gosh, Lisa Fair used to say that all the time. This is all there is. And it's like, what do you mean this is all there is? And what you start seeing when you're working with Jesus and you're clearing those denials every day so consistently like this in the light and so easily. It just gets, like Muji says, it gets sweeter. The fruit of it, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. Like you just get kissed and kissed, and then you're the kiss. You're the kiss of God. God's holy kiss. That's it. The whole gig. Safety in the midst of danger. Immortality within the darkness of the dream of death. I'm just looking to see if there's any itch left. Or dream of death. It just becomes so unknown. We keep looking with Jesus at this. You're just looking for where we're questioning our own. You don't even know who you're talking to. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to. Just love talking. immortality in the darkness in the dream, the itch for death, for that experience. And just keep looking at the energy of it directly, like that, wanting it. I can't find a wanting of it though. That's when you get really happy. You can see that your happiness itself. As soon as that shadow, the valley of the shadow of death, it's a shadow of death. I think death can't happen. You see it. Yeah, you think like, oh, joy can't possibly get any more. And like it does. You just get, it's like the happiness. It's like off the rails. Who could succeed where contradiction is the setting of his searching and the place where he comes to find stability? Contradiction, trying to find, Jesus, is there any trying to find stability in contradiction? I want to see it. It says the only stability is me. Yeah. My voice for God. Yeah, I'm seeing that. It's only to say the prompt or to follow the prompt or to hear what the prompt is. Doesn't mean the prompt's going to happen. Saying the prompt is for everyone. Goals that are meaningless or not attained. That's the goals of the ego, the idea that we have of ourselves. There's no way to reach them, for the means by which you strive for them are meaningless as they are. Who can use such senseless means and hope through them to gain anything? Where can they lead, and what could they achieve that offers any hope of being real? And that's really what we're questioning, whether or not the thought of separation offers anything to us, that the world offers anything to us. Pursuit of imagined leads to death, because it is a search for nothingness, and while you seek for life, you ask for death. So it's really pretending. It's like, oh, Jesus, I really want this, but I really don't want it. But just seeing that is so valuable. Jesus, do I really want to be awake? We can ask him, do I really, really want that only? And if there's any unequivocal, like if he tells you no, you can look with him at that. Do I really, really want to be awake? Am I willing to do anything for it? Am I willing to do anything for it? That's what it takes. You won't be asked to do anything because you don't have to do anything. But it's the willingness to follow seemingly in form, to break the pattern of following and pretending to be a person or a body. And that's the only way that pattern can be broken, is by following the assignments of spirit that seem to be in form, but they're always pointing to the formless nature of being, to what is. Because it's the movement of whatever the spirit's telling you to do is movement of divine nature, of expression of divine nature. And that's the helpfulness of mighties, because then they feel the movement with you like birds. They're going to feel it with you. And then you don't have to do it alone. But that's what the ego wants to do. It wants to do everything alone and keep it hidden. That's death. Even though we think, oh, I'm really doing the right thing, but we're really following death. It's a choice for death. It's a choice to run rather than to stand into it with the Holy Spirit. And to protect the dream. the whole structure is to protect the dream. I'm just so grateful for mighties that stand, that reflections that come in consciousness that they don't waver. And that's the way we see our strength, by standing with them. We see our strength as standing with them, right side up. I mean, it's so powerful at the conference because everybody's like, boing, 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 boing. Because we will find in consciousness, if we choose to, we'll find the ones, there'll be plenty of reflections of fear that go sideways. And I could see, like, I really wanted to run from the ones that were ding, ding, ding. Because it was fear, so it's really, the fire's hot around them because they, even Muji, I love Muji, but that fire's hot because they're so, but that's what we want. We want the fire of truth to burn out the prayer for danger, the prayer to experience danger. And our mighties take us right to where our fear is, right to where the ones that are like this, because they're symbols of having walked the fire already. They're reflections of ourselves, of what's possible, even though nothing's happening. It's just the way Spirit can move within us to bring us those reflections. We're calling those reflections. And then you get to hear, at this conference, you get to hear all the stories of stepping past the idea of personal identity. Yet searching is inevitable here. For this that came, and you will surely do the thing you came for. It's inevitable. It's just inevitable. We see that. Light. Is it inevitable that we're light? So how much time on a timeline? Don't delay. You see that you do, you dabble, you whatevers. But as soon as you start seeing that there's only light, poems in, show me everything. But the world cannot dictate the goal for which you search unless you give it power to do so. And we give the world a lot of power to hide from ourselves. Can they hide from light? No. That's why it's so funny. That's why we forgot to laugh, pretending to hide from ourselves. Otherwise, you still are free to choose a goal that lies beyond the world and every worldly thought, and one comes to you from an idea relinquished yet remembered, old yet new, an echo of a heritage forgot, yet holding everything you really want. The thing about it, you start seeing this as we look in the light, and we can ask the light question. Are the reflections in consciousness going to continue to come back until they're cleared? The desires that we have not to be holy going to continue to recycle until we stand and face them. You can hear Jesus on it. Yes. So like, it'll seem like we'll go to another location or we leave a location. It was like me when I was younger, like I kept changing jobs because it was like all about them. Obviously they didn't see how great I was, it was, I was the plain consciousness. And so I'd go to another job. Yeah, I'd go to another job. Yeah, stay with the mighties. Stay with uncompromising mighties. That's what I would say. Yet remembered, yet old, new, an echo of a heritage forgot. Be glad that search you must. It becomes a must. It has to be a must. Because if it's a maybe, it just won't. It has to be a must. You can talk to, I don't think there's anybody who hasn't, is a reflection in consciousness, if you really look, that hasn't made it a must to know God. And regardless of what's happening in form, like, won't follow the ego at all. They just won't. It's like Ramana, I'm not following that. That's how single purpose of mind to follow the light is. That's the reflection here anyway. No one can fail to want this goal and reach it in the end. God's Son can only seek vainly, though he try to force delay, deceive himself, and think that it is hell he seeks. When he is wrong, he finds correction. And just ask Jesus, am I willing to be swiftly corrected? When you hear that, yes, that's just happiness. That peace of mind. I'm willing to be swiftly and immediately corrected. It's yourself telling yourself when you're full of it. Infinite love. You start to appreciate directness. When he wanders off, he is led back to his appointed task. Jesus, am I willing to be led back? That's a good question. And hear him say yes. Because sometimes he tells you, no, you're not. To his appointed task. That's really helpful for clarity. No one remains in hell, for no one can abandon his creator, nor affect his perfect, timeless, unchanging love. Is it possible for us to change the light that's here in any way, shape, or form? See, you start to see it's all a play in consciousness. You will find heaven. Thank you, Jesus. It's your only function to be heaven. Because it seems like we're so used to a journey to get somewhere. So Jesus says you will find heaven, but you'll find you're even beyond heaven. Because heaven's a concept in the mind of what heaven is and what it looks like. And wait, I'm not peaceful now. Like, where's the heaven you promised me? Until we accept the decision not to be in heaven. Everything you seek, but this will fall away, yet not because it has been taken from you. It will go because you do not want it. You will reach the goal you really want as certainly as God created you in sinlessness. Why wait for heaven? It's here today. I like, good question. Time is the great illusion. It is past or in the future, yet this cannot be. If it is where God wills his Son to be, how could the will of God be in the past or yet to happen? What he wills is now, without a past and wholly futureless. It is far beyond, removed from time. It's a tiny candle from a distant star, or what you choose from what you really want. Heaven remains your one alternative to the strange world you made in all its ways, its shifting patterns and uncertain goals, its painful pleasures and tragic joys. God made no contradictions. What denies its own existence and attacks itself is not of him. He did not make two minds, with heaven as glad, affective one, and earth the other sorry outcome, which is heaven's opposite in every way. Is the light, infinite light of being, no an opposite? This is true willingness, just to see the simplicity of this. God does not suffer conflict. That's why it's helpful in clarity and decision making to go to Almighty, because it unravels the conflict that's around his decision, or it's not that, to see we're not making any decisions, that nothing's actually happening, but we seem to be making decisions. It's such a habit. I have decided to do this. Whenever an I comes in front of it, you can be sure I've decided. God does not suffer conflict. So there's an openness. You see that? There's just an openness. There's no attachment to a decision to do something. It's just what is. It still can happen exactly like it was going to happen, but there's no tightness around it. There's no investment in it. There's no, this is a better way to do something or a lesser way to do something. Nor is his creation split in two. How could it be his son could be so in hell when God himself established him in heaven? Could he lose what the eternal will has given him to be his home forever? Let us not try longer to impose an alien will upon God's single purpose. He is here because he wills to be, and what he wills is perfect now, beyond the reach of time. Is there any desire to stay in time? I'm willing to see it. It's so helpful when you hear that no. You can just see that the mind just has moved beyond the desire to actually experience time. Today will not choose a paradox in place of truth. How could the Son of God make time to take away the will of God? He thus denies himself. This is how we see how we deny ourselves when we're willing to join or not with a brother. That's what I'm seeing. The more open, the more willing we are to join, because we don't fear anything. We don't fear that certain beings over other beings are going to limit us in some way. He thinks he made a hell opposing heaven and believes that he abides in what does not exist. Well, heaven is the place he cannot find. Leave foolish thoughts like these behind today and turn your mind to true ideas instead. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth, and it is truth we seek to reach today. Their only function is truth, because we are truth itself. It's not outside of ourselves. We'll devote 10 minutes to this goal 3 times today, and we will ask to see the rising of the real world to replace the foolish imaginings that we hold dear, with true ideas arising in the place of thoughts that have no meaning, no effect, and neither source, no substance in the truth. Foolish images. Are there any foolish images I need to see? Images of being a person, images of being a body. Am I holding on to any of those? True ideas. Ideas of unity, wholeness, oneness, celebration. Or am I holding any other thoughts? Limitation? Thus we acknowledge as we start upon our practice periods, begin with this. I ask to see a different world and think a different kind of thought from those I made. The world I seek, I did not make alone. The thoughts I want to think are not my own. The thoughts I want to think are not my own. Are there any thoughts I want to think that are not my own? Is it possible to think any other thoughts other than the thoughts of God and the light of being if we look? Can't find that. The light of infinite being. Boy, that desire to make thoughts real. Is there any desire to make thoughts real? It's a good one to look at. For several minutes, watch your mind and see, although your eyes are closed, the senseless world you think is real. See the senseless world. Review the thoughts as well which are compatible with such a world and which you think are true. Then let them go and sink below them to the holy place where they cannot enter not. There is a door beneath them in your mind which you could not completely lock to hide what lies beyond. Can we ever block or lock our door to this light? In truth, as we look as the light of truth, can that door be locked into infinite light? Seek for that door and find it. But before you try to open it, remind yourself no one can fail to seek to reach the truth. In the light of divine being, is it possible to fail to see the truth? And it is this request you make today. Nothing but this has any meaning now. No other goal is valued now nor sought. Nothing before the story you really want, and only what lies past it do you seek. Is this light what I've sought all my life? In truth, and hear his answer. Is the light that's here, this infinite light, what we've been seeking all along? Yes. That's the humor of it. And has the light been here all along with us? Put out your hand and see how easily the door swings open with your one intent to go beyond it. Can the light even find a door anymore? See, now that he's brought the mind, Jesus brought the mind to the light. It's like, where's the door? There's no door, it's just here. It's just an idea. Like Rumi says, I've been knocking on the door and then I found I was knocking from the inside. Angels light the way, and so all the darkness vanishes, and you are standing in a light so bright and clear that you can understand all things you see. A tiny movement of surprise, perhaps, will make you pause before you realize that the world you see before you in the light reflects the truth you knew. It did not quite forget wandering away in dreams. You can't forget. Can we ever forget this light, infinite light that's here? Like, no. You cannot fail today. There walks with you the spirit heaven sent you, and that you might approach the store someday and through his aid slip effortlessly past it to the light. Today the day has come. Today God seeks his ancient promise to his holy Son, and does his Son remember his to him. This is a day of gladness, for we come to the appointed time and place where you find the goal of all your searching here and all the seeking of the world. All the seeking of the world, which in together as you pass beyond the door. When we see the light, does it bring anything with it? It just is. Jesus, is there anything I'm trying to take into the light or keep with me? I'm just willing to let that burn out. Any ideas or concepts, let those burn. I'm putting them right in the light. The infinite light of love. Remember often that today should be a time of special gladness, and refrain from dismal thoughts and meaningless laments. That's what we meaninglessly lament ourselves. Jesus, is there any meaningless lamenting happening that I need to see? Salvation time has come. Today is set by heaven itself to be a time of grace for you and for the world. If you forget this happy fact, remind yourself with this. Today I seek and find all that I want. This is happiness. Is the light all that we want? Could we want more than this infinite light that we celebrate in the circle? Can't find that as experience. My single purpose offers it to me. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. I lose the world from all I thought it was. Amen. That's lesson number 130. In the light of truth, do we lose the world from all we thought it was? That's the only question, is to really see that in infinite light, isn't it? That's true. As we sit here in the light, I lose the world from all I thought it was. Yet is there any loss in that, in the light of infinite being? So much joy. I'm sending love. I'm sending love for you, Elaine, because you tried to call me, so I have to try to call. Infinite love calling right here, mighty companion. I love you all. I thank you all for your devotion, and the beings at the center are, wow, powerful mighties we have. Thank you, beloveds. Amen.